like 5 paragraphs from management asking me what did I mean by this. I tell management, I'm like, well, yeah, like eventually everything's going to need to be like very sponsor friendly. Like that's just the natural order of things, and it probably is like better to be independent like in this day and age and everything. And I was talking about how like I see like all these other streamers that I look up to like becoming independent, which probably gave them a heart attack. I don't think that's what they want to hear. I wasn't like saying this like I'm gonna leave right now. I had no plans of graduating or anything. I wasn't trying to like trauma dump or whatever. It's just like the conversation like naturally led there. And I was like, oh yeah, like here's how I feel about this. And then paragraphs later, a couple hours later, like I brought up, I was like, you see this with like all these companies, right? Of like VTuber companies get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the more they do, the more restrictions that get imposed, and the more miserable it becomes for the talents. And yeah, basically like the only reason like I'm really staying is because I have like FOMO of like, if I left, like I don't think I'd be able to like collaborate with the people in Face Connect anymore, and I don't want to lose out on that. So I treasure the relationships I've built here. Like, it's not the only reason. It's not the only reason for me staying. But that's like the big thing. Like being blunt, right? Like there is this culture with VTuber companies where it's like you can't collaborate with your ex-coworkers. And you can't even publicly interact, really. All management was basically like, first of all, you're schizoing. You're like kind of like mentally checking out before anything's even happened. And I was like, yeah. I'm easily influenced, and I see all these creators that I look up to, that I admire, that I aspire to be like, and they're all leaving their companies and shit. And so of course, like it's gonna affect me more than it realistically should, because we're not even in like similar situations, right? So that was one thing that they said, where it's like we don't have like crazy restrictions or whatever. And I like brought up some stuff that they had said before. And I was like, here's like proof that we're getting more restrictions. And they were like, we meant this is like a general like guideline thing of like, let's not like overdo certain things. And like Pokemon ROM hacks, right? Like here's an example of this. There's a real possibility that as Face Connect like gets bigger, like we're not going to be allowed to do that anymore. Like that's just the reality of it. Of if like Nintendo came along and said like, hey, you're a company, you guys can't be playing ROM hacks. Like, it would no longer be allowed in the company. So, be careful, you know? Like, be aware of what you're doing.